Welcome to Ground Control. I had a post the other day, someone inquiring about the Volantex Ranger G2. It's made out of EPO foam. It's 1.2 meter wingspan. It's a pretty nice flying plane. I've had it for quite a while. I think I've probably had it for a year and a half, 2 years. And I have hardly flown it. I think today is going to be my 23rd flight on this airframe. So even though I've had it for quite a long time, it's still a fairly new plane to me. I can't even remember where I was, you know, as far as the control surface setups on this plane the last time I flew it. So I want to go out and fine tune it now that I have more experience on aircraft, and I'm a little bit better at tuning than I was in the past. So I want to take it out and see if within a couple of flight sessions if we can get this plane flying exactly the way I want it to fly. And he ordered one of these. I don't know if he's received it yet, but he ordered one, and he used our affiliate account when he ordered it. So I greatly appreciate him doing that. That's fantastic. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and go out to the field and throw it in the air and see what it's going to do. I don't even remember. So I'll see you out there.
Okay, I've got the Ranger G2, the Volantex Ranger G2 out here today. I have got the main landing gear taken off of it. I'm just using the center wheel. I put a couple of wing protectors on the wings. The plastic clip that holds on the main landing gear just doesn't hold up very well out here in this rough terrain where I land. So, wind on the ground this morning is 5 to 6. We'll see what we can do with that. Let's see, into the wind, into the sun. Let's get it in the air. I launched that at about 60% throttle. I have a 3S Lipo in it, 2200 milliamp hour 20C. It's 192 grams in weight. And having that all the way forward gets the CG, I think, right where it needs to be. The hardest part with this plane is getting it back on the ground, because it just wants to float forever. I think last time I had it out, I had to make 4 passes before I could finally get it on the ground. But nice looking plane. I don't recommend this plane with the stock motor thrust angle on it, because it really pushes the nose down pretty hard when you throttle up. I will have a link in the show notes to the tutorial for my thrust angle modification on this plane, and if you're willing to do that, then I highly recommend this plane. Once you get that thrust angle fixed, it's an excellent flying plane. Not a bad roll rate. It could probably be improved a little bit. Throttle back. Yeah, I think that thrust angle, I think that the roll rate could be improved on it. I increased it a little bit since the last time I had it out, but I think it needs some more. Do a nice loop with it. Throttle back. I think I need to mechanically adjust the elevator down a little bit as well. Little split S with it. I also increased the movement on the rudder since the last time I had it out. It's been a long time since I have flown this plane. Let's see what that looks like. Not very good. I may need to throttle up a little bit more. It's hard to get that tail swung around. It's so long. That's better, but man, that's a slow turn, isn't it? And I've got about the maximum amount of rudder that I can get in it. Makes for nice coordinated turns with it though. Maybe a little more expo in the aileron. Oh, and the thrust angle modification on this plane does allow you to put an 8-inch prop on it. I think it came stock with a 7x4, 7x5, so it does add a bit of power to the plane with that 8-inch prop. Seems that way to me anyway. It seems like it has more thrust with the 8x4 as opposed to, and I can't swear to it, but I think it came with a 7x5. Pretty nice though, huh? I mean, it handles really well once you get that thrust angle taken care of on that motor. It's awesome. Alright, got my timer yelling at me. I guess that roll rate's not too bad if you get some speed up. Alright, so let's see, which way do we need to come in? Got to come in a little bit of a crosswind. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go around again. That's just a little too much speed. Alright, hard landing coming into a crosswind. But we made it. We made it. So, yeah, if you want to do the thrust angle modification on this plane, it is really a fun plane to fly. I need to increase my expo and my mechanical linkage on the ailerons a little bit, give me a little more throw on that. And everything else I think looks pretty darn good. CG looked pretty good. I need a little down trim in the elevator, and then I think we're golden.
Okay, so that went better than I thought it was going to go after not having flown this plane for so long. I think one of the things that's really cool on this plane is it has this bubble level on the top of it, and if you get that bubble right in the center of the circle, that's where you want it balanced on the CG, and it does have your CG location molded in the bottom of the wing. So if you get your plane neutrally balanced right on that CG, and that should also center the bubble, then that works out very well for the balance of the plane and also for the CG. I mean, it was flying nice and straight and level at cruising speed. I forgot to mention that the battery that I was flying in it was one of the first 3S Lipos I ever got, so it's a pretty old one. And I wasn't just cruising around with it out there when I landed. I think I still had 80% of the Lipo left, so you can get a tremendous amount of flight time on this plane. The other thing that after you do the thrust angle modification, every time that I have put props on a test stand with a motor, an 8x4 prop has always been more efficient than a 7x5. It produces more thrust and it uses fewer amps. So doing that thrust angle modification and being able to put an 8x4 prop on there instead of a 7x5, not only is it going to give you more thrust, but it's going to give you more flight time at the same time, so that's a win-win. Now the batteries that I fly with the majority of the time with this plane are the Turnigy 3S 2200 mAh 25C Lipos, and this one only weighs 171.6 grams. So I just can get this balanced on the CG with this battery inside the fuselage, and it's actually pushed up underneath the canopy all the way against the foam up here. So I would recommend, I think the two links that I have in the show notes, I think the weights of those batteries will be better to use in this plane than this one will be, just because of the weight difference. If you had a battery that was any lighter than this one, you wouldn't be able to get the CG. So I think having a little bit of room to move the battery back and forth, having a battery that's going to be heavy enough that you know it's not going to have to be at the maximum forward position, I think will be better for this plane. So I think if you look at a battery that's somewhere between 180 to 200 grams in weight, I think that's what you need for this plane. Anyway, so I have some adjusting left to do. I had a full down trim in the transmitter, so I need to do some mechanical adjustment on the elevator, because I don't like having trim in the transmitter, only sub trim, just to get the servos completely centered. And I've already got 110% scale, I think, in the transmitter for the ailerons, so I'm going to have to adjust the mechanical linkage to get more throws on the ailerons. I think I would like just a little bit better, roll rate on this plane. The rudder is as good as it's going to get. I've got the maximum deflection on the rudder that I can get without it interfering with the elevator. But having a fuselage that long and that tail way out there like that, it makes for very slow sweeping turns when you do a stall turn. So, and I don't, with this style of plane, I don't think there's a way to correct that unless I extend the surface area of the rudder, and I don't think I'm going to do that, just to have faster stall turns on it. But hopefully after the next fine-tuning session, this plane will be golden. I'll have it flying exactly the way I want. Thanks for watching. I'll see you out there next time. I'll see you in the air.